In this world, we have countless mysteries. Where did we come from? Where are we going? How did Bubsy get a new game? Wait, he got two? How? How did this freaking thing get two new games but Conqueror is stuck in some other freaking dimension? Sorry. But a mystery that riddles most of us even to this day is known as Doom 3. This game is a freaking enigma, man. Well, I mean, it kinda is, and it kinda isn't. It's weird, okay? Howdy, and welcome to Doom-Athon. I think it's about time we discuss what is widely regarded as the weird one, the stepchild, the outlier of this series. Why do I and so many others say this? Well, you need to watch the video to find that out, silly head. To start it off, I'm gonna say just because this game is so different from the rest doesn't mean that it's a bad game. The opposite, actually. This game is pretty damn good. It's just odd that it is what it is. But enough of the prefix, let's just talk about the game already, shall we? Doom 3 looks at the previous games in the series and just kinda picks and chooses what to take from them. I praise Doom 2 because it took what worked so good in Doom 1 and just amped that ish up to 11. Doom 3 is a product of its time, meaning it focuses on a dark story and tons of audio logs to find everywhere that gives it such a deeper tone, way more in-depth than the previous games ever tried to be. But there is a hint of the past here, which is the best part of the game. For instance, this game tries to rely on a sense of horror everywhere. With gory scenes and being pitch black most of the time, this game really wants to try to scare you for some reason, even though the previous games didn't even attempt that. Maybe once or twice in a dark basement, but that was just kind of like a outlier parts of the game. But in the end, Doom 3's idea of scary is you opening a door and an imp jumping out at you. Which, yeah, the first few times it got me, but after that it got pretty damn predictable. But the game didn't realize that because it did that a million more times. It uses the same identical scare, or very similar ones, throughout the entire game. But when the horror works best in this game is when you are just walking in a dark lab alone. That's when it gave me chills, man. It gave me creeps. And that's when this game nails the atmosphere it's actually trying to present to you. But instead of just skimming over each point, let's go point by point, and I'm going to discuss how this game handles these points in comparison to how its granddads did it. First, the story. Wait, Doom with a story? Yes, that's correct. Now I know the new games have a story and it works amazing, but when Doom 3 came out, this series was the farthest away from one that was considered a story as a key part. I mean, the story was there, but let's be honest with ourselves, we don't play those old games for the story in the slightest. Doom 3 has a dark story around Mr. Generic Evil Scientist himself. Seriously, this guy's cheeks. I do not care at all about him. But this game seems to make me want to hate him and make me want to kill him, but I don't. I mean, he's an arse, that's a fact, but I don't care about him like I care about someone like Handsome Jack. The story keeps things moving, which I can appreciate. The story is the weakest part of the entire game, so every other opinion I have on the game will be much better. But this game does bring us to a lot of pretty cool places, and let's move on to the levels. The levels are a complete 180 compared to the story. I love them for the most part. Yeah, most of them boil down to lab, darker lab, and if you're lucky, destroyed lab. But their layouts are nice and keep things fresh. I will admit I was joking about the lab thing. There is some variety like the mines and when you're venturing through deep dark areas, but hands down the best levels are when you go to hell. No, like seriously. This is the game on its prime. More bombastic and energetic with amazing design and art. This is one aspect that Doom 3 heavily takes from the past two games regarding the level layouts and how you proceed through them. I already mentioned that this game makes sure to try to keep things fresh. When I started to get bored, the game introduced some weird things or something like that to keep me invested. Teleporters, weird platforms, dark basements, shipping rooms. These were all great and very welcome. Puzzles suck though. That's all I'm going to say on the puzzles. Just no. Now the levels do rely on access codes and keys like the previous games, and that's something that carried over, and it does work pretty good like they did in the previous games. But levels aren't the only thing that make the game fresh. Enemies are here to do that as well. Transitions, baby, I'm on top of it. Enemies are great overall, but I do have one huge issue with them that I will get into later. Overall, there is a huge variety here, most of which require me to actually think and use my environment to best overcome them. This is where the level design comes into it too. Their designs are great and I had a blast blowing them apart. I did feel like I've seen a few too many imps, but they are the standard enemy, so I guess I can let that one slide. But other than the imps, the enemies are all distinct in silhouette, which is important for a game as dark as this one. Some were hard as hell, making them the priority when a bunch of smaller enemies were jumping around, making me navigate around them. It was really a hell of a lot of fun. Now time for the huge downside around the enemies, and that's their spawns. Yeah, these spawns are so predictable. You open a door, lightning strikes, a huge red effect, you hear a huge noise, making it extremely obvious where the enemies are. So I just wait next to the portal and blow them away with a shotgun as soon as they pop in. Sometimes they will be placed and come out correctly like through vents, and that's when the game works best. But to sum it up, yes, I love the enemies, but bosses are mostly gimmicks, so meh. Other than the dragon boss, that one's hands down the funnest. I had a hell of a lot of fun trying to fight that guy. So far it may sound like I don't like the game, but I like it a lot actually, I promise you, I'm just trying to be critical. But let's talk about my favorite part of the game. The weapons and the gameplay is where Doom 3 turns all the downs up, man, holy crap. This is what they took from the past games because this gameplay in Doom 3 is fantastic. The weapons all serve a purpose and they're so satisfying to use. It's slower paced than the previous games, which can take a minute to get used to if you're used to playing them back to back like I did for this series. But you get settled into place pretty quickly. First, the weapons. You have the fists, which is about as useful as you would think against Hellspawn. Then you have the pistol, which is better than it looks, I swear, but not much better sadly. The shotgun, which works like a shotgun. The nail shooter, as I call it. The minigun, which is basically just good for big guys. The plasma gun, which is the most OP gun in gaming history. The grenade, which I adore to a hardcore degree. The rocket launcher, which is just good for big guys. And the BFG, which is just good for big guys. Oh, and the DLC guns. Gravity gun, which is the most useless gun in gaming history, and the freaking super shotgun makes its return, which is only in the DLCs, which hurts my heart to an extreme degree. The guns work with the gameplay being fast paced. You have a stamina this time around, which means you have to watch that cardio, baby, because if you run out, you will notice it and regret it. The gameplay is just fun, okay? Switching weapons and blowing down countless demons all back to back. This is the best part of the game and makes me recommend it. Fun, fast-paced Doom action. When you are in the middle of a huge battle, it's just energetic and makes your heart beat. This is great through and through. Managing your stamina, ammo, armor, health, and flashlight battery in the middle of an enormous fight in a dark, dingy underground laboratory is satisfying to the oomph degree. But like I already said, this game doesn't really feel too Doom. That's why I called it an enigma. When facing off against a room of Hellspawn, it feels like I'm playing the proper Doom game that we're supposed to have, but when I'm walking around dark tunnels and listening to screams and hearing weird ghost noises while a general is telling me where to go and what to do next, that's not very Doom. I understand why it's like this, trust me, I do. They wanted to take the old game and make it feel more modern for the time it came out in. In the end, I love Doom 3. It does have more slow moments than all the other games combined in the franchise, and a really boring story and puzzles that I couldn't care less about, but the gameplay makes up for more than anything, with the great guns, enemies, level designs, and gameplay. This is definitely another recommend in my books. Doom 3 is available for basically every console in existence for around $10. Get that crap. It's pretty damn long too, so that's another plus. Next up on Doom-Athon is Doom 64. I hope to see you there, guys. See ya.